my biggest fear in my first year.
I don't know if anybody's heard from Corey. No, that's $25.
He probably forgot. He forgot.
Yeah, we reminded him last week when he left here.
Okay. All right, I guess we can get started.
We can get started.
Okay. All right, 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the regular council meeting for December 17th to order. First order of business, call for pecuniary interest regarding the agenda. Don't please have anything in. Do we have in camera today, Donna?
No, the only thing council needs to do is just review the letters quietly, and then we just need one letter for signature.
Okay, so
Right to the membership.
so we don't pecuniary interest. So then, moving on to the agenda, additions, deletions, so I have a couple, 6.1, I'd like to put under the, Phil is here to talk to us today. And, we've got a little gift for him, and then I'd also, under 8.2, I have you all have a copy of a email that I got from, our MLA there, Andrew Budachenko, so I'd like to talk about that a little bit, so we'll call that 8.2. Does anybody have anything else they want to put in here? If not, can I get a motion to accept the agenda with those additions?
I'll make the motion to accept the agenda with those additions.
Thank you, all in favor? And that is carried. So first order of business, adoption of the previous minutes.
We're switching things up, didn't we?
November 23rd, the budget meeting minutes, the November 26th, the regular meeting, and December the 10th, committee of the whole meeting minutes. Are there any error omissions that anybody has? If not, can I get a motion to adopt the previous?
I didn't see anything wrong with them. I'll move to adopt them.
Thank you, all in favor? That is carried. So without further ado, we have a little presentation here for Phil, who's been retiring.
Yeah.
How many times is this?
I think two.
Only two, right?
In recent memory. Might be three, maybe.
Well, we certainly appreciate all of your service, and they have a little bit of a presentation here for you. Something that I think you may appreciate your talk.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that's very nice in there, and like I said, all the years of service, it hasn't gone unnoticed, Phil. Even when I was the mayor, I knew about you, and I think everybody else did, so appreciate it very much.
That's awesome.
And,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And you got something else? Did you give it to him already, or is that something that?
Christmas party.
That's later.
That's later. Okay, I don't want to.
Now you gave it away.
He's going to enjoy it.
Yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I just wanted to thank Phil for all of his dedication and hard work and, coming in, because of course he was the closest one to the shop. Yeah, I just, on behalf of Public Works, thank you for everything that you've done for us and all the hard work. That being said, I'd like to introduce you guys to our new contractor. He said his phone will be on 24 hours a day.
Well, I thank everybody very much, and best crew I've ever worked with since I've been here. It's been all awesome, all of us guys. Just it's been a treat. It's been a pleasure working with all the guys. I know I'm gonna miss everything, but I'm here still, so I can come for coffee anytime.
Fourth Tuesday of every month.
Yeah. I thank everybody. I thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else have anything else they want to say? Or? Yeah, go ahead.
He's
Go
a
ahead.
brother, dude. Yeah.
Phil, I've only known you for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's been painful. I'm gonna miss your la 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 hallway every morning.
I can record it.
And your dog.
Please do. I'm gonna miss all your wisdom. I'm gonna miss knowing where things are. And you are under orders of the CAO that you will not be a stranger to this house. that when we call you, you'll immediately show up. Whether it be coffee, whether we need your brain, whether we need you at 3 in the morning. Partially clothed. Whether we need you to hold a tiger torch, more family here, Phil. So you may have retired from work, but you haven't retired from us.
And thank you very much.
God bless you.
Bless you all.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
I miss you already.
I know, I think
Miss you guys too. I'm here.
Yes,
It's
you
all
are.
good.
Yes, you are.
All right, well, thank you. You guys are free to go. You don't have to be captured, or you can stay here and listen to the rest of this. It's up to you guys.
They wanna find out what their budget is for next year.
Right?
See what goes on here.
Okay, what's going on here? That's right. Well, you're up, I mean.
Comment because I don't have a filter.
Yeah.
They'll get the truth.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're gonna get into the, next item on the, agenda is the, 7.1, the budget for 2025, the interim budget proposed. And, CFO Cindy, I guess, we got a few things that we have to talk about yet, or?
Yeah, so, the second draft was brought forth, at the COW, or is being brought forth here, I guess. As discussed at COW, I took out the tablets for council and I cut the library funding by $15,000. The information requested regarding total funding for the library is as follows. So rent, based on the average rental,
Love you guys, take care.
Yep, thank you.
based on the average rental rates in Thorsby, so the rent that we subsidize is $21,500 a year. The power is just over $2,000. Gas is just over $1,700. Water is about $320. Insurance is $1,100. Their library, the Yellowhead Regional Library board fees are $4,700. Maintenance, which is the cleaning of the library, is $2,080. The grant last year, so this is based all on like last year's actual numbers. In 2023 was $49,000. So basically, in 2023, the total funding for the library was $82,450. And then as well, there's a $12,000 air conditioning unit being installed in the library, totally funded by the town. So, so that's the information that was asked for at the last meeting, for you guys to decide what you're gonna do this year.
Yep.
For the library. And then the only other change I had in the budget was I forgot to take out the $7,500 in the capital budget for the tablets. So I've removed that on my.
So the next council is at a disadvantage because they're not gonna get that option.
Tablet?
Yeah.
Well, this last meeting, they discussed just putting it off until the 2026 budget, because the council doesn't come in.
Yeah, because you only got a
October.
month.
Okay,
You've only
good,
got a
good.
month, right?
I was
Decide
just,
what they
yeah,
wanna
yeah,
do
yeah,
for it,
yeah,
Ready to
yeah.
go into the
Because
next.
I was just like, that doesn't seem
Yeah,
right,
we
but
just
now
do
that you tell me that, that
Yeah.
seems, okay, okay, okay.
What, yeah,
No,
like,
no.
why?
Yeah,
I just don't want them to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
just
no,
off
it's,
the-
yeah, it was $7,500 for,
That we may or may not even need or want or what.
right, if they don't want them, they don't want them, if they don't need them, so whoever wants one, I guess, can.
Or like, I don't know, like Shelley's using hers, but if she gets reelected, then like, I don't know, like, it's kind of a
Right.
moot point, right? So
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like,
So those are the only, so before we deliver it, I see there's a couple people for Kim and Jackie. You guys are here for the library, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you guys want to say anything? We haven't voted on it yet, so, but, you can see the reason why we
Well,
want to do this?
I can expand on the reason.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna ask, it's to verify why there's.
So when we asked for your actual from 23 and your proposed for, like, in your year-to-date for 24, in 23, you had an $18,000 surplus, and in 24, it looks like you're gonna have at least a $10,000 surplus. So over the 2 years, that's 28,000. I'm predicting your bank account's gonna be sitting at around 60,000 come the end of 2024. Just based on the numbers and what was there, and there's no plan for that money. We asked what the plan was, and we didn't really get one. We got, well, we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do this. There's no dollar values associated with any of that. So basically, council feels that there's this excess of funding going to you, and there's all this money sitting there, and there's no plan, there's no reserve policy, there's no, like, yeah, there was just basically no plan and just an excess of cash. So when we are funding you, we're funding you in excess if you have cash left over every year, to that extent, right? Like 18,000 and 10,000 is, I mean, $18,000 to us is over a 1% tax increase. So.
Jackie, you had something to say?
Well, like I'm new to the board this year, so I mean, I've just sort of been going back and looking at previous things. And since 2022, they wanted to purchase new computers and stuff, but we've also had 3 managers in that time frame. And the last manager that came on, Paula, who was really a good manager, but she took a while to get on board into the process and stuff. And now we have a new manager who's just started within the last couple of months. She's trying to figure out where we need to do with that money. But I mean, the money was being saved for upgrading the library. And if we lose that money, we're not going to be able to upgrade the library. And it very much needs it. If you go to the library, you can see it needs it.
Go ahead, Shelley.
Also, if the library were to apply for any sort of grants and such, a lot of the time it's matching or such. If they don't have any reserve, they can't apply for any grants, can they?
But they don't, that depends what kind of grants they're applying for. If it's a matching grant, they would have to have the money to match.
Corey?
And just from a pragmatic kind of sustainability and kind of overarching kind of larger context perspective, for libraries in Alberta, municipal libraries in Alberta, they're typically funded around $20 to $25 per capita by the municipality. So that would be significantly less than what we're currently talking even at that.
So, yeah, go ahead, Kim.
So, I just got we got an email from our,
We're going back and forth here.
yeah,
Yeah.
did you get that one too? So she says that, she wants to thank everybody for the budget template, but she's very disappointed, and we all are, in the decision to, about the operating grants for 2025 and beyond. She says that the proposed cut over the next 3 years will be devastating to our library functioning. Like our manager, she kind of did a little review of libraries around. Our library staff hasn't had a raise in forever. That was part of what we wanted to do with our money. It says, yeah, Thorsby libraries are well below the average where they should be. We require new computers. Those are used a lot. Every time I'm in the library, they are used. Kids use them, adults use them. We need some upgrades in our library. It's looking kind of shabby. So it says she's received various communications from patrons wanting more programs. There can't be programs if there's one librarian in the library. They need to be 2. In order to do the programs effectively, somebody has to man the desk while the programs are going on, and we can't do that. So this will impact the hours we are open, and our little librarians already they have very few hours. They're not going to come in anymore for like 3 hours or it's not worth it to them, even though Audrey's retired and she's taken over, but she's not going to come anymore for that, and you just can't expect them to. So we've been very diligent in our spending, watching our dollars and cents, and carrying forward monies in the hope of reconfiguring the library desk and incorporating an office. Originally, we had requested the space where the boardroom is located in hopes of enlarging the library, but that didn't pan out. We were not successful in that. We need money to reconfigure the library to better accommodate the lack of much needed space. And these are just a few of our plans for the monies we diligently saved. So it is disappointing. That's a lot of it. That's a big taken out of our operating budget. But I don't know what else to say about it. We were really disappointed. We were back and
Well,
forth on this.
we haven't made the decision yet, first of all, and secondly, it's not for 3 years. It would be just for this year.
It's an interim budget, which is not actually the final budget. We need a budget for January 1, but we have asked the questions of, for example, what the reserve quote-unquote amounts are being allocated for, we didn't really receive an acceptable answer. If we have an acceptable answer, this can be revisited before the passing of the actual final budget, but we would actually need those answers this time.
And, but they just found out, I mean, so they gave us a number, they came, we asked questions, they went back, tried to figure out what's going on, but they have a new manager, everything's in flux. They cut their number down. They just found out yesterday that we were planning on maybe cutting them by 15,000. So now they're really trying to figure out what they need to do and want to do. But we've had these discussions prior in our meetings that they want to upgrade the library, but who's going to give them the money to do that, right?
Correct. Go ahead.
Sorry, so in 2023, Calmar, funded their library by 98,000. So 16,000 more than we did.
For 3 times the population though.
Yeah.
98,000?
Yeah, but 3 times.
That's double us.
Yeah, 3
No,
times.
it's not, we're 82.
Oh, you're talking, but does that take into account
49,
all of that?
Yeah, they have,
Okay.
like, that's their amortization, because I'm assuming Calmar owns their building.
I presume.
And then their salaries, wages, like this is their library on their financial statement. So it includes the grants they get from the government, and then it has their sales and user fees. And so we also discussed, Kim, like, having the library do paid programming, because you can do that. So you could do like, and maybe Donna, you can talk to this because you've talked to the librarian from.
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few libraries, and your children's programming, if I may just do that, your children's programming is never paid. That's a given, that's gratis. A lot of libraries that do things like wine tasting, and they bring in an expert and they charge for that program, for their expenses and for the night. They've done musical stuff, they've done all sorts of different things, and they're smaller libraries too. Not 1,000 people like Thorsby, but there's the 2,000 mark. And I think it's important to branch out a little bit that way. The other thing that I think council is indicating is you can have a wish list, but until that wish list is costed, you have a plan for it, we just want to do stuff, and I understand that. But I have no concept of your, as a CAO, I have no concept of what you want to do, so I can advise council on, I want to upgrade the library, I want computers. There's a cost to that, right? And if you have a surplus and with a reserve policy, you can give your staff a raise. You've got that reserve, but you haven't cost out anything. So I can see where it's a little difficult. But I'm going to encourage you to start looking at different kind of paid programs. Your new librarian is also very experienced. She's a librarian in Calmar. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And I have librarian friends that know her. So maybe sometimes she might have to come out and man the desk. I mean, that's what managers do, whether she wants to or not. And if she doesn't want to, what's in her contract that allows her to not do that? Like, it's your expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your expectation is that she comes out and is a working manager on her days here, that's a trustee board discussion that you need to have with her in a contract. Because Cindy's in my contract, we have to be here 3 hours a week.
3 hours.
Yeah. But we have a certain amount of hours we have to be here and work. So if she's looking after Calmar and she's looking after here, you would expect her as good steward to be here such and such a day and do such and such a thing. So you may want to look at that. But there's lots of libraries that do a lot of charge for things. And what you do is you attract a different kind of clientele. You never take it away from your folks that don't have money or your kids, and that's different. Because all libraries have that challenge. But you could draw a whole bunch of different class of people in here with some events and so forth, right, that you want to do. And you could do in the library, or, we talked to Kelly and we gave you some space in the rec center. It's not being used. If you had an event, that's not a problem either. So that's some of the things that other libraries do. So you may wish to consider that. I've read your wish list, and I just don't know what you want to do and how you want to cost it. I don't know. So it's one thing to save money. I think that's lovely, but you need a bit of an operating plan and a bit of a capital plan, so that so that you can cost that out, right? And if you need help doing that, we can help you do that, that's not a problem. So you don't have to worry about that.
But this decision is being made tonight, is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, I guess for me, I don't have any problem giving the money out there, but I'd hate like heck to see next year, all of a sudden, instead of 60,000 in the bank, they got $75,000 in the bank. I think that's the thing that really is kind of irking everybody a little bit, you know?
So it's a reserve?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you have
'Cause-
60 to 80, I mean, I don't know. She didn't really forecast the bank balance, but if I do math, I'm thinking it's gonna be in the realm of 60 grand
Yeah.
in the bank by the end of this year.
Right.
I have, when looking at the October minutes, the savings showed 29,830.30.
That was the savings, but there's,
Oh,
like, if you looked at the end of when she gave me the stuff, at the end of September, there was $80,000 in the bank, and you hadn't got the $10,000 grant from the county yet, that came in October. And then, I know you still had payroll for 3 months or whatever, but, then she gave me a projected income statement, but she didn't put in the county grant, like, there were things missing from it. But I asked if you were still getting that, she said, yes, it just came in, so then you can add another 10 grand to that total, so you're gonna have another $10,000 surplus this year. So if at the end of 2023, you had, let's say, 60,000 in the bank, and you have a $10,000 surplus, guess what? At the end of 2024, you're gonna
That's
have
what I'm saying,
70,000
you know.
in the bank. So, and that's a lot of money, because to us, like I said, $16,000 is a 1% tax increase in this town. So we're funding you $82,450 a year. So, I think it works out to 4%. I did the math the
Yeah.
other day.
16.
Yeah, I was just gonna put, again, that's not
5%.
accurately
Yeah,
reflected in the library's financials though
No.
either, like that's
like the
what
full.
it's costing the town. Like
Yeah.
the ratepayers of Thorsby are paying that amount already, it's just not accurately captured in the library's finances directly.
So 5% of people's taxes in Thorsby go to fund the library.
And we have a group of volunteers that are trying to do the job as diligently as possible. And the manager that was in place was being extremely frugal. And I don't think we've given the new manager a chance to get her feet wet, really. And I don't imagine that the programming, if we were to offer programming at a fee, that we would generate $5,000 in a year, let alone $15,000 in a year. I
But you don't know
can't
unless you
imagine
try,
that.
Right? You don't know unless
But
you
then
try.
they don't have a lot of staff, is part of the issue
Extra
too. Yeah.
hours and evenings and trying to get somebody in for programming. The cost of instructors or whatever you might propose.
Yeah.
as a
And I
program.
can fully understand the challenge. Do I think personally, I think 15,000 is a lot, but that's my personal opinion. But I guess this is the reality of the world right now. I mean, as a town too, we're faced with the fact that we don't want to raise taxes another 4% this year, right? Because that's what it'll be if we fund the library fully. We'll be at almost 4, we'll be over
Well,
3.5.
It would be 1%, wouldn't it? Because the 3% was already incurred every year. It was just invisible and not stated.
No, if we put the library back to where it was, for what they're asking for.
Because I wasn't sure when you had the 3 things and you had the different percentages, what that meant.
Well, that's the 3 years, right?
Oh.
So, if we put the library back, it'll be 3.27% is where we are.
Something like a total amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey?
I have an easy solution, cut the air conditioning for 12 grand and then it's only $3 grand difference.
But then nobody uses the library
Well,
during
that's
those
tough though, that is unfortunately the reality.
Oh. Well, then he's saying, yeah.
All right, well, is there anything else? I guess we'll be taking, I mean, it's, I guess we'll make the decision
Well,
eh?
here.
and Corey did say too, this is an
This is
interim
interim. I
budget.
mean, if the library comes back and they come up with a bunch of other stuff, this could be changed.
What do you need? What do you
A plan, we need a plan, and like a 5-year, maybe even a 5-year capital plan, like what you want to do in
Yeah,
the
I'd
next
like
5
to-
years.
I personally would like to see an adequate justification of the existing reserves, what it's for, and where it's going to be allocated, under what sort of timeframes, budgets, but then also if we're going to keep overfunding beyond base operational amounts, what that future amount is also going to be for, right? It can't just be for reserves. It has to be for a thing, for an actual tangible, like documentable, kind of justifiable, planned thing. It can't just be for reserves generally.
So we have to do a 3-year operating budget. So if you guys did a 3-year, I guess that's fair. But yeah, so then predict what
capital.
in a 3-year capital, like what you're gonna upgrade with your reserve funds. And then if you have that and council's satisfied, then they could change the number back. But I think just based on the last 2 or 3 years and the amount of money you have sitting there with no plan for it, I mean, you have a theoretical plan, but not a concrete how we're gonna spend our money plan and what it's gonna cost us, right? Because we have to be accountable to the taxpayers too, right? So if you have 70,000 sitting in reserve, that's 4% of our tax, that's 4% of taxes in this town.
I can indicate in the one library I spoke to, they do wine tasting, they do craft beer, stuff. You don't need a lot of volunteers for that, they bring their own staff. You just need someone in the library, or wherever you wanna do it, one person. They bring their own staff and they bring their own equipment, bring everything, and then you just throw folks in, or how to make wine, that's all, whoever wants to do that draws that in. So, I think it's maximizing opportunities, but I also think with your reserve, right, your staff needs a raise, for heaven's sake, give them a raise.
They do.
Well, there's really money there to do it.
Yeah.
And we certainly don't wanna drive.
Well, I know, and it's been kind of out of the kindness of their heart that they're like, we want the library to keep surviving.
And we do.
We do.
Yeah.
I think it's not that we're against the library. That's not what this is about. It's just that there's all this money and it's just growing and growing and growing and
So
growing
they've been
every
really
year.
hesitant to give, increases, but, if given the opportunity, right now, I'm sure they would do it.
Well, you're.
That's within the library board's discretion, though,
Yeah.
to do that, right?
The
Like,
library board now, even.
yeah, the council doesn't get to decide anything about the operations or day-to-day. We get to say yes or no to a number. That's the extent of our control.
The problem is
But yeah,
that
no, we've run into panic mode.
too
and
frugal.
I'm sure they can create something to
Oh,
be more concrete
We
to
don't
satisfy.
wanna throw anybody into a panic mode, but I mean, like you said, we need to pass our interim budget here, and of course, there are some other factors that'll come in later, being the assessment, what
Yeah.
comes in from, whatever, the independent assessment, everything. So that it could change, I mean, and maybe at that time, I don't know. You guys can come up, the library can come up with some new plans, but,
I guess you have several months to address that.
Yeah, so I
Right.
think we'll do interim, but like we'll do final in April.
Yeah.
So if you can get it to us, if you can get
will.
it to us by like mid-March,
Yeah.
then, so you've got like 2.5 months.
And you know what, folks, I'm here, you wanna run ideas past me, I'm sitting here.
Yeah, and you want help
Not a
with
problem,
financials, I can help you over the phone,
Absolutely.
over a Zoom call.
Right.
It's all good.
So does that make sense to you, Jackie and Kim? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to, I guess, ask for a motion to approve the
Are we-
Can I ask questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've missed the last two,
Okay.
so I haven't really been involved in this.
Yeah, there's
beginning.
more to discuss.
So I was just looking at, I haven't had time to do a line-by-line analysis, but I was just looking through it, and there's just some things from lines I did look at that stood out to me, so I kind of had questions, but a lot of it has to do with administrative stuff, so I don't know if I can, obviously this is public knowledge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, my first thing is, I feel like for the legislative stuff for 2025, you're definitely gonna need to up the conference fees, because with the new council, they're all gonna have to go to AUMA and get training in the fall. So 4,000 is not gonna be enough, just FYI. I was curious as to why the council meetings / general expense went from 400 to 7,900.
That was the tablets that we now took.
Okay, that makes sense then, all right. And then I was looking at honorariums, because at September 30th, our honorariums were at 41,829. So if you added another quarter for the last, we'd be at about 55,000, but we budgeted for 67.5. So we're under budget, and then we're raising it for next year. Are we increasing the honorarium?
If you look at the,
The number.
yeah, but if
September
you look
30th.
at the, like a little variance report.
Corey, do you have a question on this, or?
Yeah, no, you actually have a good point there with the training. They changed the requirements for new 101. They set a really stupid tight window now, where there's only like, there's like a week that's viable between, and everyone has to take it. It's not negotiable. Before it had to be offered, now everyone has to take it, and there's like a week window where you have to do it in. It's
Don't
like
they do it at
ridiculous.
AUMA though?
No, you have to do it from, essentially before the organizational meeting, you have to do it. So from the election to the organizational meeting, in that little tiny window, everyone has to do it. So I know that or Alberta municipalities and stuff are like trying to put together courses and like regional like sessions and stuff to try to cram this all in. But I don't know what the costs are, but yeah, we're definitely gonna need to factor that in. Like before it had to be offered, now it's you have to take it no matter what.
We missed it, we had to go in, us guys, we had to go in.
Well, we took it with at AUMA,
I know, or they got somebody to come out, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, you can do it however you
But we
want.
had our lawyers come in for some of the
He
training
came in the
too,
first time, but then we also go for the training, right?
because it was two different things that we had to learn, yeah.
So like there's the Muni 101 stuff, and then you have a window after that to do like the local specific stuff, like the
Legal?
stat plans and MDPs and all that stuff. There's a longer time frame to cover that portion of it, but the Muni 101 portion, it's stupid. It's like a 10-day window or something.
Yeah.
So at the end of November, actually, council honorariums were 60,000. Because it's gone up, because there's lots of meetings for water right now. So,
I thought meetings were separate, that's it.
no, that all is in
Okay.
there. So and then that's why it went up again, because
Because
it's,
it's continued thought, yeah, okay, just checking. Okay, and then there was just some other, I just looked at different lines, and there was like some salaries and wages went up by like 15.7%, and benefits went up 26%. Another, that was Parks and Rec salaries, and then the arena maker went up 12.9% and 67% in benefits. Like the numbers just seemed kind of wonky.
I actually went in. Did you look at budget, or were you looking, like, they
I was
went up
looking
over
at-
budget or over actual?
I was, let me look, because I was looking at, I think, guesstimating the last quarter maybe and adding it in, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because, so arena, there's nothing all summer, right? They
Yeah,
meet in
it's all
April, they
winter,
come in
yeah.
August, so you get, that's kind of, but, I mean, if
You
again,
just did an analysis and
yeah, I
figured out the
did, like
actual.
Kelly gave me their hours and I went through and put in there, so this is the first year we've actually had time to do that.
And then the
So-
programming, like, it went from this amount, we budgeted way higher, and then it's not dropping next year. Because I think by the end of September 30th, programs were at 20,000, and we budgeted for 50,000. Program wages.
Salary, I think. But I also think that we're a little bit over in regular salaries, because there's some people that are coded to general rec that are doing programming, and we don't put it out because
that was just a big one, I was like, that's
Yeah.
a huge.
because if I look at the variance report for, Parks and Rec in general, like, we budgeted 132 for salaries, and we're already at 150.
Okay,
At the end of November.
yeah.
So, and part of that, because they do programming, we just don't pull out their program.
From the
Yeah.
staff and stuff, okay. All right, okay, I was just,
Yeah, no, thank you.
Sorry about that, I didn't mean to rush it through. Anybody else have any other questions they have in there?
I know, let me look at my text. I was bombarding Tracy the last little bit, just to find out what went on last night and stuff, but.
We did change like the capital stuff for the,
What are we
So,
doing?
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Me and my garage will share this.
I'm sure you will.
And
I'm gonna probably go over there and see it one of these days.
Yeah, you betcha, buddy, you're always welcome.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Thanks again.
which street is that, or which avenue?
Oh, yeah, I did
Like where we did like with the full infrastructure for the first.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this, oh, so are we going ahead with that? Because
Yeah.
I saw that there was, we
Yeah,
actually
broken
doing
phases,
the,
but doing the
I
whole
saw
thing,
it. So we're going with that plan? We're gonna start
That's the
actually
only
doing,
plan we can do.
but at least we're doing something,
Yeah.
like that's,
Yeah, we
We're
are.
doing
Oh, yeah.
whole works of it instead of.
yeah, I
let's
get
pave
it, no,
and then
yeah,
withdraw
because
at
I
the
was
end.
here when we discussed
Okay.
that.
Yeah, no,
That what, we can't do the up without doing the
Well,
down,
yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah.
just like
So yeah, so we
yeah.
got the pricing.
I
from
saw that.
So we're gonna
for
do 2
4
blocks.
years now.
yeah, well, that's pretty cool, I'd say.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. So, at least it's
Yeah, I
something.
saw that, but I didn't know if we were gonna be able to do it or not.
Yeah, we have like, so I guess what we need, what you guys need to figure out is what the library's funding will be totally.
Before the 80 order reserves for that?
That's what I had, so then you have to decide if that's what you want, is 80, and in roads and sidewalks, right now, there's 163, 164, almost.
So we're still
168. So it's
planning
close
on-
to 80 then
Yeah,
half.
I was gonna say, that's not leaving us a whole lot, that's.
No,
that's
so
not-
that's totally up to you guys, I just plunked a number in there, so you.
Oh, we can't, I mean.
Well, we have grant money, it's not that we can't take it from grant.
But like, if we deplete the reserve that much, that's what, like 3 water main breaks?
Well, that's roads. Roads and sidewalks are under water main break. Water is 183,000.
Okay, fine, still,
Yeah.
that's not, yeah, we can't deplete it that much, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, whatever you guys wanna do, I mean, there is grant money, it's not that we don't
Yeah,
have
no,
grant money.
like, I get leaving
Yeah.
some of that available.
So if you wanted
but-
to take out like 40, I can take the other 40 from grants,
Yeah,
like,
so that still leaves us like,
that would leave you 105 almost.
well, we definitely shouldn't go below 100, I don't think.
So,
That gets pretty dicey if anything
I
comes
think
up.
so, yeah.
Gotta live on the edge. What about, so we're still planning, we're still doing the sidewalk on, there, okay. And what else are we doing?
So
on the
next
project?
year, we have the ground supply for the, complex, the sidewalk in front of Taylor Park, that work 53rd Ave, part of it,
Page 35.
the
Here, okay.
scale for chemicals
You got
at the
this
water
one.
treatment plant, and,
I'll cover it.
and the chemical pump skid at the water treatment plant.
So small, I can't.
At the very end.
On page 35.
We really should be setting like a policy for what our actual like reserve kind of threshold levels are based on actual logic instead of like coming up with it on the
Slide.
spur of the moment every time.
We can
but-
work on that this year for you.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I get something happens tonight, but like, rather than me saying, gee shucks, what should it be at the spur of the moment, like, we should have a coherent thought of discussion, I guess, but.
So we can leave it at 0 right now and say we're gonna fund it all from grants, and then we can decide, like, at spring budget, what we wanna take out of reserve.
It won't affect, no matter which way we do it, it won't affect.
Yeah, it doesn't affect
No, it doesn't
The
affect
final
the
number,
cost, it doesn't
yeah,
affect the
just
final.
moving money around.
So, it's
Yeah,
just that I will have to go apply for grants right away here. So,
When does those have to be?
well, the sooner the better, because it takes us 7 years to prepare something.
Well,
It takes them at least like 3 months to.
I can't see any justify, like, honestly, like, 120 is probably pushing it, I think.
So, okay, so do you want, I mean, I can do 0 right now, apply for the full grant, if we don't use the full grant, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I guess that's, yeah, because it just.
Right, it just goes back into the grant, yeah.
Again, yeah.
So I can put 0 from reserve, and then we can have the
Figure it out
discussion.
later.
Yeah, we can talk about it at a cow, and then we can come up with,
Well, I think that's probably a better.
yeah, yeah,
Would be my preferred method.
yeah.
No, makes sense.
Seems like a bad idea to come up with an arbitrary number right now.
Easy to say 0 right now.
Okay, I can change that to 0. And then add 80 to
It's an easier
here.
number to understand, 0.
Instead of wondering how we came up with 32.
Yeah.
Just 0. Yes.
And then I guess just those lots, like, unless anybody else has any questions that they need explanations for, then just deciding on the library, what you want to do with that. I personally think 15 is a big,
You didn't.
But like I said, I mean, you know, this.
no, I didn't.
I think personally, I think you pass it with
The
less,
35.
yeah. And then gives them the time, and if they need it, we put, you know, when we come in March, we can change it and find some other money. Corey?
Yeah, I think like realistically, local appropriation rounds are like 20 to 30 for pretty well every other library. We start looking at total contributions. Oh my God, we are like way above and beyond.
Yeah.
And we have habitually always done that, so that's fine. I get everyone's became accustomed to that, so it's unfair, just like, kind of, but all we're doing is saying, okay, we have to start justifying it and explaining it. So I think, I mean, to put in a low number for now is fine.
Yeah.
Because all we're doing is saying, okay, explain why statistically we're overfunding it. That's fine if we can justify it, but we need to justify it, and now everyone has to get on the same page.
It gives them 3 months to come back with a plan.
Yeah, but then if they do come back with a plan, then that bumps up our,
We'll find someplace to live in.
Yeah, because there's spring adjustments, like,
There always is.
so assessments
Yeah.
are due to go up.
Yeah.
Like, according to the assessor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be some wiggle room there, it's like, I mean, we can.
I don't want to send the wrong message to them, but I think they understand that, you know, they can come back and, you know, just come up with a plan, you know. But I'd hate like heck, to all of a sudden they got another $10,000 in the bank at the end of the year.
We're at the point where they could almost just survive for like, what, like 2/3, 3/4 of a year without
5
any
months.
funding at all.
5 months.
5 months is what they had figured out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but their reserves have grown since then, so their reserves are way higher than they were a couple of years ago.
I think too, your worship, you could get counsel, I think without a proper reserve policy for the library, I mean, that really has to be done. So
Yes.
that you're not in the same boat we were just talking about a few minutes ago, about how much are we gonna transfer, I don't know, it's arbitrary, right? That's why we hit 0. So I think you have to consider that reserve policy. I also think that you have to consider that frugality sometimes is your worst nightmare, because you don't get the staff you need to get or want to get. So that would be my number 2 consideration.
Or that they haven't been using the money to do the upgrades that they've been needing to do. Like, they
Getting the money,
could,
but it's not being spent.
they could have
Spend the money
got,
or don't ask
they
for it,
can
is essentially what
replace
we're
the
saying.
computers, they've got the money for it.
Exactly, instead of talking about replacing them, why aren't they replaced already?
Yeah.
Like, that's the concern.
Come with a plan,
You gotta
come with a
spend the
plan
money.
to-
How many computers do you have in the library?
I'm not even exactly sure, probably about 7 at least.
Maybe they want to take and show them what computers to invest in.
Yeah.
Well, they did have a tech person looking, yeah.
Who's the tech person?
Well, Yellowhead Library.
I get a second opinion from Tim,
Yeah.
in all honesty, I would.
But I think there's that, I don't know, wasn't there certain computers they needed to be able to use the,
I know they're gonna get 2 screens for the desk.
Yeah, but you can get,
that's not even computers.
Screens are cheap.
Yeah, that's not even computers,
Yeah, no, I
that's
know,
monitors.
that's just a minor.
yeah.
But for that truck, like the system to run the library, they need certain, on their end.
On there, they
let
need one
alone-
big
yeah, yeah.
computer and then they need other.
Certain RAM and certain,
I feel like we bought new computers for out in there, within,
They were.
When I was in
But
the
I guess
library, I
after-
feel like they did 2 or 3 of them.
yeah, but I guess they
That
probably
was a few
only,
years ago.
you gotta replace those every
That was
few
like
years.
Yeah, I
out
get
there
that.
instead of at the desk. Now they realize they need to do the desk first.
Yeah.
And then
Then they-
Yeah, and then I think you need to have a plan, like, okay, or how, like, again, computers, how
How
often are we
often,
gonna
yeah.
replace
Yeah,
them?
yeah.
Okay, every 4 years,
Like how
and we're
much-
gonna need. this
And like,
much we're
okay,
gonna need.
and we're gonna do a COLA increase every year for the.
But then actually, spend the money, not to say, well, there's no money for raises to pay
whatever,
the
yeah.
staff, when you're sitting on 3/4 of a year worth of all, like, the expenditures, you're just sitting there doing, like, idle. It's hard to say there's no money to pay the staff and such, you know what I mean? Like, it's from, not the library board perspective, but from my perspective on council, I don't know, seems like there's lots of money there, why isn't it being spent?
I have a question, Ray. Sure. When you say you're running the library program, so Yellowhead Library Program, you're running it from a computer on the desk? Is that what you classify as your server kind of thing that is running off that?
Mhm.
I'm asking.
I'm not the second person that way.
Okay, so.
Yellowhead manages the library, will come in and assist them with decisions. Is that what you're asking?
They have their own Wi-Fi number there,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's not, thank you, I appreciate that, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, like, you may not need a computer to run the Yellowhead Library program, you may need a type of server, or type of offset piece of equipment that's less expensive, but has more power, I guess, that I'm talking easy language here. You need something with more power so you don't have issues. And unless you have a computer that has a ton of RAM, a ton of speed, a ton of good video cards and all that, I know our office computer in my office, not here, but in my company, our company has a ton of that for my computer alone. And I think if I upgraded it, I think it would probably cost me another $2,000. So I think, I'm not sure what Yellowhead is telling you, but I would get a second opinion, because if you don't have to necessarily buy a computer for it to run off, I guess is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, if it can be upgraded.
Yeah, like we have a server
Yeah.
that runs everything,
Yeah,
like all our programs are on the server.
You can get a Buffalo
But I don't know why
server,
you even need a server nowadays, because, you know,
The cloud.
AWS is a real thing,
Oh,
it has been for a long time.
for sure. And I think, I would
We
have,
have one, well, I don't know what AWS is.
Amazon Web Services.
Oh.
yeah, I
You
would,
can buy their time on their server for a fraction of what it costs to have your own server.
100%, or you can buy Buffalo servers, we have one in our office, it's that big, that tall, cost us $800.
Yeah. Any other question?
Well, I just wanted to say that, the Yellowhead County's on a cloud-based server.
Okay,
So the computer that she uses at the desk allows her to access the Yellowhead
right,
main branch
Yep.
server.
Mainframe.
Yeah, so that's what they're.
No, you're talking Yellowhead Regional Libraries.
Yeah.
right. So what it sounds to me like is you don't have enough juice in your computer at the desk to get in the way you need to and want
It might
to.
be older,
I think it's too old. And I think if that's the computer you're using to run and get into what Andrew was saying, I can be honest with you and tell you, you're gonna have to upgrade that computer every 2
I
years.
feel like, oh no, I feel like this came up and I know there was something, oh, what was it? It was more of there was an issue more with, it was like a legislative problem with privacy and accessing information. There was an issue, I can't remember exactly what it is, but
So you have to stay under
there's
that.
something specific that needs
Yeah.
to happen there. I can't
Okay.
remember what it is offhand.
So then I think you just need something with more RAM and more speed. I think that's your biggest problem. If you have to stay on the library, the Yellowhead Library server and all that sort of stuff, you might just need bigger video cards. for it.
They do have assistants that they'll send them out.
Oh, sorry, just, so for one computer, let's say accessing an off server, whatever, and I built my own computers and I do it all the time. A top of the line central processing unit, which is basically your computer's brain, is going to probably run, and again, top of the line, you may not need this, $700 to $800 on a new egg, whatever. And this is mostly for gamers, so that could end up costing less, say $400 to $500 for just an office computer. And then, like Donna said, you need at least, I would say, 16 gigabytes of RAM. Video card is inconsequential. That's mostly if you wanted to run a 4K monitor, right? Like that's where you need your better video cards. Everything else is sort of inconsequential. How much storage do you want in it? Probably not a lot, 256, or not 256 gigabytes, a couple of gigabytes of internal storage. If you want an external storage, I would imagine that an office computer for them would run probably more than $1,500 total. I know my computer, again, though, I spend a lot of money on my computer. My computer is probably worth $5,000. I can break down what every single part costs. And 2 monitors, yeah, if they want to do 2 monitors, maybe a little bit better of a video card, because you just want to have something that can handle 2 monitors, because it's processing both at the same time. I don't think it would be too bad for them. You said 7 other computers or 7 computers
I
total?
don't know, in the,
I can't remember if there's 4 or 6 out on the table.
But just a bit of perspective, like they had $60,000 at the end of 2023. They had another 10, that's 70. Their whole operating budget is 70, all their expenses are $74,000. So they have a whole year's worth of
That's what I'm saying,
operating
this is
in the bank.
not 5 months, this is
Yeah,
like
like if they have a lot of
almost a
money.
year, yeah.
This is an external storage unit that we use for our company. It's $40, 2 terabytes. Big.
Yeah, no, data is definitely cheap now.
Yeah.
Storage is,
I
yeah.
take it everywhere with me.
well, now they'll figure it out.
Oh, well,
They've done a few months.
Yeah.
Heard of them.
And yeah, and if the Yellowhead does that too, get a second opinion with Tim as well, so that you have a more balanced approach. Okay.
Okay, so we're leaving the library at 35, that's just what I'm.
I believe so, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? Anybody have anything else to discuss? No?
No, but if you two are interested here on YRL's website, I can send you the link. There's like exactly what the YRL does provide, what they don't provide, what they do help with, they don't help with when it comes to tax stuff, all their IT stuff. Sure.
Okay. All right then, so I guess I need a, motion to approve the, 2025 interim budget with the changes that we discussed here today.
So we're sitting at 2.93.
Yeah. John, all in favor? All right, carried. And like we all know, that, I mean, there's adjustments.
Yeah.
You don't know how much the assessment things are gonna come in?
Yeah, he said 1.5%, and then we did get something from the province on the linear assessment, which showed like a 4% increase to their assessments. That's like the pipelines underneath and stuff. Yeah, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it could be.
I was talking with Glenn Blauser and Ray Scobie today at the fire hall, and they said that the county, last year, the county had 0 increase.
Yeah.
This year they gave it 3% this year, so they're at 3%.
Yeah.
Never goes zero.
You should never go.
Never goes zero.
Save. And to be
Oh,
honest, if we, like, when we come to spring budget, if we have an excess and we're at like 1, then
Yeah, well, if you
I would recommend more money in reserves, because we haven't put a lot in reserves lately, because we've been in a situation where we didn't have the money to. So, and planning obviously for the future is something that needs to happen.
All right.
So.
All right, well, thank you for that, and, like I say, you can see we've got some nice, capital projects. I think, people on 53rd Avenue should be happy. Maybe not the guys at the end, but,
2 blocks worth.
2 blocks
Well,
is
I
better
guess
than
they'll
none.
see that it's movement, right? Like, nothing is being done.
Exactly, and so. All right, moving on to, new business, 8.1, a transfer to reserves 2024. Cindy, you want to discuss that there?
Yeah, so in the 2024 budget, there was 10,000 was allocated to the water infrastructure rehabilitation and 10,000 sewer. So I'm just asking to resolution that council approve those transfers for the 2024 fiscal year.
Okay.
Then I can put them in the.
Yeah, any questions, anybody on that? Nope, I get a motion to do so.
I'll make that motion.
Trace, all in favor? That is carried. All right, so 8.2, you all have this, email from, Emily, Mr. Bodchenko wants to meet with us or discuss things with us, and, I just brought it up, I just thought, what everybody wants to do. Do you want to invite them to a council meeting here? Do you want to have a separate thing? I know one thing, you know, looking at these water main breaks, for example, the 2 that we had on 52nd there, you know, they cost us double because we had to cement them. And I don't see why the province shouldn't be that. Corey?
Yeah, I would suggest, it might be more productive. He's not saying you want to come to a council meeting, he's saying if there's.
No, we can have a
now,
supper
we
meeting.
should- yes, we should have a more candid conversation than we're sometimes able to have at a council meeting.
I think that's.
Lots of things we can discuss with them, but the council meeting is maybe not the
Yeah.
easiest place to have some of this discussion.
And we can get administration to possibly make kind of an agenda for it, you know, for some things that we want to talk about them. And
Yeah, we can, you could have a supper meeting here, you could have a supper meeting in the banquet room at the neighbor's pub there as well.
Yeah.
Shut the doors, and that would probably be more amenable.
so, if that's everybody wishes,
That'd be my
I think that's the way I'd rather go too. And, so we'll, reach out to his secretary there and see if we can find a date and get them out here.
We have a motion, your worship of council, to direct administration to create an agenda, create a space, and a date for council's approval.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, I'd move for council to make those, you know, plans and.
Ask them for money.
And everything else. For a meeting with,
Agree. All in favor? Perfect.
build a list for you, sir? There's a lot of things that I could have help with on 50 seconds.
Yeah, well, you just give it to Donna.
Sometimes you gotta pick our battles too, though, so it's, one of those things where we don't wanna get too nitpicky, but,
Yeah.
bigger picture, right?
My biggest thing is trying not having the snow fight with highways.
Yeah, exactly.
We
And
clear it
that's
off the
a-
shoulders and they throw it back on the shoulders.
Well, I mean, and that's right up, that should be right up in his alley, you know? And also make sure, Dan, make sure that he's paying.
For something. He's got an expense account, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's got it.
Make sure it's in January if he's not.
He's asking for January, that's what it is.
Perfect. I didn't see the email, so.
All right. Okay, bylaws and policy, 9.1, the fees and service bylaw 2024-8, third and final reading. Does anybody have any further discussion on that one?
Your Worship, if we can explain some of the bullet points.
Sure.
We did some added.
Go right ahead.
So basically what we've done is we've done a little more analysis and we're, I guess, getting prepared for the future with this. We removed the classifications of residential and non-residential contractors within the business licenses and added a new, it's new here, but it's not new for typical bylaws like this, new principal contractor and listed sub-trade classes. So contractors are now included in simply businesses and the fees attached to those. So what happens is, let's say I'm building a bunch of houses, I'm the principal contractor, I'm building 20 houses in Thorsby. I have to list all my sub-trades, and the fee will be $750. Those sub-trades will have a rear view window sticker that matches the permit number and everything, so that when our peace officer goes through, he's looking at the vehicle and going, yeah, okay, you're under that particular contractor. Should the contractor fail to list the sub-trades, each sub-trade will have to get their own business license. So before he pays, he has to list. And a lot of municipalities do it that way. $750 may not be enough either. That's just a proposed thought. And they can't be switched out for others. This keeps them honest, and it forces the contractors or the housing developers or whomever to list their trades. But it also gives the trades a bit of a break because they can list under that contractor, and it's a fair system. That was our big change, and then just we updated those particular definitions.
Yeah, I guess, well, I guess $750 is enough if you're like an actual contractor and you have 20 different, so you have 30, 40, you have a lot of subcontractors. Just the headache of us administering it, I feel it should be more than $750. But I guess my other concern is just to clarify, sub-trades are only able to work on projects directly for that contractor. They don't get a de facto business license. They can't go down the road and do a service call while they're in town without getting a business license like they should.
That is correct.
Okay, perfect.
That is correct. So I don't have an issue with updating it. I mean, we proffered $750. I know as I was in Morinville, we were just about $2,500 for that, especially if you're doing a lot of building. So we could actually listed classes, we could have so many sub-trades underneath. You hate to do that though, because then they start to lie, right?
Yes, I agree with that, kind of leave it open, but if they don't want to spend that much for a business license, like they're essentially buying a business license for all of their sub-trades at a bulk discount.
That's right.
So realistically, if you're saying, okay, what's 10 business licenses, because that's a pretty safe minimum kind of assessment. You have a roofing contractor, electrician, a plumber. If you said about 10 business licenses worth, but they're probably going to have a lot more. So I don't know, what does a business license cost?
Yeah, non-residential business is $250. I imagine, unless, I mean, some could be within Thorsby, we only really have one or two contractors.
So realistically, like if you said,
You're
if you
prorated.
literally just said, like the equivalent of 10 business licenses, you'd be at that 2,500 mark. I agree, it's probably on the steep side, but it's not actually unreasonable.
No, it's not unreasonable.
And if they don't like it, then the contractor can just pay his $200 and tell his sub-trades to get their own business license.
That's correct. You
That's
could
his
do either.
prerogative.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. So we made it, based on our discussion, we made a little more language, just a little more clarity language around that, just for billing purposes. And this does work, and it's interesting when you get to the job site and you got contractors, they'll change the the rear window marker, and they'll put it on their truck, but they haven't been listed. So when the peace officer comes along, he matches their vehicle and who they are. They keep forgetting that it says Fred Bentley on there, and he's Bob Sherwood. And so then he gets escorted down to the office to get a new business license, right? So, it keeps them honest after a while. Then you have honest contractors here. So, maybe, in the definition, council, your worship and council, maybe we can put in something to the effect of, some trade categories applicable in development projects, and, costs are prorated, I'm trying to say that. I could get some other language, something to the effect of costs are prorated. Because if an out-of-town business license is $250, right, Madam
Yes.
Clerk? Okay, so it's $250.
And all our contractors already have business licenses.
Yeah, I'm thinking for a big home builder, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So but by virtue of the fact they're underneath the prime contractor,
Yeah.
they're inherently an out-of-town business,
Yeah.
or they would already have a business license.
Yeah.
So you have to go with the out-of-town rate is kind of a comparison.
Yeah, 100%. So out-of-town rate per one is what, 350, 250? It's 250. So then you charge, I mean, we could either charge the 250 to that contractor per trade, or you can, charge him the 750 and prorated trades underneath on the 250.
I would say it's easier to just have a
Do a
flat
flat
rate,
Yeah.
but a high enough flat rate to
Yeah.
justify it. And again, I don't think, $2,000 or something, I don't think that's up to lunch at
No,
all.
I don't think so either. We
We're talking
can
about building a $400,000 house, like this is not a big expense.
No, that's right. Okay, all right, I'm good with that. 2,000.
I think that's kind of like
Not
75%.
quite, yeah, not quite 10.
So you're getting a discount if you had a minimum number of trades,
Mhm.
but in reality, you probably are gonna have twice that.
Yep, you will, 100%.
So now you're getting a really big discount, but at least, hey, you're
Yeah.
being honest and telling us who's doing what, and
Yep.
so fine. But at least it's enough money to justify the administrative kind of hassle of it.
I think so, and it keeps the contractor honest. He's got to now sit, or she's now got to sit down and think, what do I need?
Well, and if you, let's do they have to still do like a fee per number they're adding, you're kind of disincentivizing them from
Right.
bothering to sit and do that.
Yeah, that's right. And so then the trades would be listed on the business license. Every trade,
Mhm.
we'd have, what did we discuss, Jesse? I think we'll list the name of the trade, what their company name is underneath this contractor, so that we know who we're looking at on the job site.
So anything basically over 8 trades
Yeah,
is free.
yeah, yeah. We're gonna do
It
it.
seems like in reality, you're going to have at least that.
Yeah,
And so just to clarify, because I don't understand it 100%, is there like a strip of stickers if the contractor had 2 vehicles coming or 4 vehicles coming that day, or he switched vehicles and forgot stickers in the other window? Like, is it literally a sticker that goes into the,
it's like a door knocker that goes on your door, it goes around the rearview mirror, so
so
that
they're
it's
like,
easily identified. So let's say I have as long as the sticker's with the vehicle and it matches the company, right? So if one day I'm Joe's Plumbing and I have a Ford, well then Joe's Plumbing better list us all the vehicles that they come with, Ford, Dodge, et cetera, right? But then let's just say I jump in my wife's car
yeah, that's.
and I put the sticker in the rearview mirror. There'll be a ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, just trying to understand.
No, it's a great question. It's one that I've wrestled with in different councils, and what we didn't have here is, we will have growth in this town, we will. And so we want to be prepared for this, because what happens is these guys bring a ton of contractors all on the site, and they pay for one contractor license, and that's it, and we're losing money. Well, I mean, we're losing.
Well, but it also simplifies it in the sense of, we don't need to have bylaw chasing around a bunch of random, somebody says, well, I'm just here to do, 2 days worth of work, why do I have to get a business? Like, it's a huge fight every time.
Yeah.
It simplifies all that and saves all of that hassle, and actually just makes it easier for them as a subcontractor. But
The first ticket
there's
that
gotta
gets,
be some sort of mechanism for,
Like
kind
this,
of changing, adjusting,
Well, I was
modifying,
gonna say,
guess.
because is he
Yeah.
gonna know at the beginning of his project?
It's something.
Because you
change
bring
something.
people on.
Well, because they're getting a business license not for a project, they're getting a business license for the year.
He knows, he knows his trade.
You know,
He knows
Yes, but if
every
something
builder
changes
uses
halfway
the same
through,
trade
I
all the
agree,
time.
but things do change, not like he's changing every 2 days, but like, okay, his electrician went bankrupt, and so now, there's, every now and again, there's gonna be a hiccup.
Well, we could modify a bit in here, we could say, let me see. It says principal contractors require an approved, where am I reading here, development permit prior to a business license being issued, that's normal. They need to list all their subtrades at the time of approval, and those subtrades cannot be added on or switched out for others unless the contractor provides, I'm just writing as I go here, provides adequate reasoning.
Yeah, adequate, justification for like, it shouldn't be just
adequate
arbitrary.
reason-
but
Yeah,
like,
adequate reasoning to the licensing inspector.
Andrew? Yes, obviously.
I was just thinking, like, along that same lines, like, have it set up where if they need to change out one of their, sub-trades because of an issue like that, or, there was a falling out between the two of them, without a justified reason behind the trade, have a fee to change
Yeah.
out your
Yeah.
sub-trade.
Change.
Right.
Yeah, oh, your guy that you listed is just actually too busy, and you need to bring in someone else for one of your houses or whatever.
Yeah.
Fine, you wanna amend it, is there an administrative fee? That would make sense.
$150
I would say
administration
150.
fee. Yeah.
Jesse?
I just also want to point out, just for some of the language, we have time to think about it. Not the amendment fee, that's good to know for this one. But for the language, we have time to think about it because we need to bring these changes to the business license bylaw, not to the fees and services bylaw, which I'm doing ASAP come January. You guys will get a first draft of a new one of those. So there is time to think about how we want to word some of this because it'll go in that bylaw, not this bylaw. This is just to do the fees, and then we can do that one right after. I just need to know the fees because we're doing renewals for business licenses this month. So that's why this one needs to happen this month, because I need to send out rules.
Yeah, and we need those proper definitions in here for what we're talking about here, for sure.
Yeah, for definitions, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, if we want to do like a whole section in the business license bylaw, just dedicated to
I don't know.
going through
I would suggest we keep this in the definitions,
of just the fees and services, because our business license bylaw is the one that.
put them both in.
Okay, well, that's totally fine, yeah, I just mean, yeah, for a lot of the large language needs to go into the business license bylaw.
Yeah, we'll just duplicate it, but we'll put the fees here in the fees and services bylaw.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put this language we're talking about tonight in the definitions in this bylaw.
Okay,
And then in the business license bylaw, we'll duplicate that, so one mirrors the other.
okay.
Typically, these sorts of business licensing regimes are often accompanied with like, again, like consolidated, like combo permit sort of notion. I don't know if we wanna look at that, but it would ensure that permits actually get pulled and dealt with.
Yeah, now our permit system comes through inspection group. So, question on the inspection group permit. Is there a mechanism that they report back to us? Let's say I'm building 5 houses and I'm Donatona's house
It
building
should be like,
company.
we are the accredited municipality,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
a subcontractor.
we
They
get
should
a,
be.
like, when they send us our check,
Yeah.
we get the list of what all the permits are.
But how do I know, let's say I wanna start building houses tomorrow. And you wanna find out if I've got permits as a municipality and I wanna start tomorrow. How quick is that from the time we get the check with the permits as to when I start building?
So the check only comes with closed permits.
Yeah.
So they only update us with their closed permits, and sometimes those can be a year back. But the second that somebody takes out a permit, I get an initial email sending me it doesn't have all the information that comes when it's closed and delivered to me as a check, but it does give me who pulled the permit, what type of permit it is, just the basic first page information that comes with a closed one, just not all of the rest. I also have their whatever it's called, portal that I can just look up by address whether any permits have been pulled. They also won't do permits without a development permit, so if I never know, then I know that they haven't pulled any permits.
So if I'm building my house, I just say, yeah, I've sent my permit application into inspections group, I'm gonna start building. How do we check on that to stop them? Because we gotta think of that whole stoppage portion of it. So how fast, I guess what I'm asking, between the time they pull the permit, it's approved, and we can allow them to start building, or we can start checking on it, I guess is my question.
So are we talking like, sorry, 'cause I don't know a whole lot about the inspection
Okay.
permit process. Are we talking about, do they get a permit prior to doing so?
Yes, like when I apply for a permit, right,
Okay.
I send in to them, I'd email to the inspections group,
Mhm.
fill out a copy of the, whatever their form. Within 48 hours, they email back to me a copy of the exact same form, but just with a permit number sticker on the top of the
Yeah.
page.
It would be in their system.
And then as soon as I have that in my hand, I'm allowed to go start working.
Oh, okay, okay, sorry, I guess I was under the impression that when you do a permit, it's to inspect a place that's already been built.
No, you're supposed to have a permit for a lot of things prior to commencing work, other than in emergency
Oh,
circumstances.
I'm still learning a lot about this every day.
Yeah.
I really don't do permits.
I am painfully familiar with every intricacy of it. I can answer all of your questions. I hate all of the permitting process.
Oh, okay, well then I can go through my emails and what they send me and see how quickly between the date that it was applied for and the date that I got it per email. I would have to guess very quickly, like
No, but I guess,
right away.
that's my point of this confusion. So I guess what my thought is, though, why this might be a good thing to integrate as, I mean, it's a separate but related thing. If I'm a general contractor, I'm gonna build a, whatever, new strip mall, and I have all my different sub-trades and stuff already listed, and we already know who that is, and they're gonna go apply for, development permit, building permit.
Mhm.
Well, but their sub-trade is not working as an autonomous entity, it's working directly for them.
Correct.
So having them effectively pull all the permits underneath their name using their subs all en masse.
Mhm.
So that you wouldn't have the electrical contractor pulling an electrical permit, you'd have,
Fill out the general
fill out
contract.
paperwork for the permit, and we're gonna send you, inspections group is gonna send you all of your various permits,
Yeah.
all in one
I'd
kind
rather,
of package, because then nothing gets missed or forgotten.
I'd
or
rather
overlooked.
have the GC pull the permit, that makes sense.
But that's it, because there's a single,
Yeah.
it's easier to chase down the one guy who's got some skin in the game than the guy who just did a little tiny $500 job or whatever, they didn't really care.
And that could be on our business licenses too, we can say the GC has to pull the permit. Sorry, checking that, sorry.
Like, he can't pull the permits because you need the actual ticket number a lot of times.
Yeah,
So, I mean, administratively, we can, but like, it still has to be in the name of the sub usually, but we can at least kind of make sure it all is one kind of package
one
happens.
package, yeah, we have to.
So I guess, so from that standpoint, I mean, I'm not arguing that, I think that's the best way to go too. But I can look it up by address, so I can see every permit that's associated with the address or the tax roll, I can do both. So even having multiple different wouldn't stop the process, but I agree that we should just have them all in the same one.
Yeah, but like when
Now
someone starts building, like, it's easy to kind of do it almost like, there's gonna be an electrical permit, there's gonna be a gas permit, there's gonna be a plumbing. There's kind of the basics, they're gonna need to happen, but instead of him saying, yeah, I don't know, my plumber's gonna deal with that when he deals with that.
Yeah.
It never happens sometimes, and then it's this weird problem.
Yeah,
So I guess
let's work that out administratively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, sorry, just really quickly, my second question would be, would that be more of like, we talk to inspections group and ask them to
Logistically, how to.
We'll
agree
work
with the
that out.
process? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
agreed.
just making sure. I
No,
don't know if
that's
it was
good.
us or.
Can I go ahead and, sorry, Donna, we were talking on the last, build that happened where we were gonna build that sheet. So the file will have the checklist for us to go off of as well on the front of the file, so, with, Jesse having access to their portal, she should be able to go through on that checklist and be like, okay, they've applied for this permit, they've applied for this permit, they've applied for this permit. So if it gets down to a point where, the house is done and people are moving into it, but hers doesn't say anything about, electrical permit
Well,
being pulled and.
A very tangible thing that's actually a real liability for the town is what happens when somebody calls and says they want a water meter? Do we actually verify that they have a complete final plumbing inspection?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because like, that's one of the things where I know we never used to.
Yeah.
And like, that's a huge problem, where you go stick a water meter in and it's not actually complete and you flood out someone's feeder room or whatever, that's a big expense.
Yeah.
I think that's part of our SOP too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that we know.
We'll discuss that offline.
Yeah, no water meter gets installed without, verification that there's been an inspection done.
Yeah,
Final
yeah,
inspection.
yeah, okay.
And then, there always has to be a plumber on site before we'll turn a water meter on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just making some wording change.
And process changes, yeah. We'll discuss it, your worship, and clean up the definition a bit. We'll discuss the
But
process.
you need this approved today is, you want to give it the final reading right now?
I need to send out our renewals, and this changes the price for out-of-town contractors.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just clarifying for council.
I would suggest we do this. Council's pretty much given us a lot of information, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of good information that we need to do here. So if council is good with us making these amended changes based on the discussion, we can pass this with those amended changes, i.e. the fee structure, looking at the permit structure, looking at the subcontractor structure, and we can put all that in the definition. It doesn't have to go in the body of the bylaw. It can go in the definition section, because that's all it is basically. If council's comfortable with that, we will amend that. If you want to wait, then we have to bring it back to you at the end of January.
Go ahead, Corey.
No, I think that's okay, I think we're all.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
so I'm happy to move third reading with those, changes discussed.
Okay, all in favor? There you go.
Good discussion. I love this. Oh, seriously, I love this. So,
All right, 9.2, burning and fireworks bylaw 2024-10, third and final reading. Do you want to make any comments on that one, Donna?
Your worship, I just need to get to it. So let me simplify this. Coming up, the last goofy thing here. Yes, he's quite happy to.
Oh, no, next year's the year by.
No, I mean, all the, do this, do that. with
Oh, yeah.
pages in here. I got it, thank you, page 63. So, we have introduced it, first and second reading, and after some productive changes, here's the final draft. So basically, we effected an alteration of the language regarding following the Leduc County protocols and administering fire status to the town of Thorsby. So if we're going to issue a fire ban, it's based on what we want, not what the county's doing. So that is clarified. And double checking here. Bear with me a sec, here's what I'm saying. And, yeah, that's the only changes made.
That was a few different spots throughout, but I think we got them all.
Yeah, we believe we have, until you find one you left.
I control F. I control F and.
We went through that with fine-tooth comb, because it's like, okay, we're gonna beat Counselor Gilbert to the draw here.
Well, there were so many of these little references in there,
There
even
were.
this one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my problem, like going through things, well, I'm sure there's gotta be one somewhere, because there's just so many of them that, yeah.
Oh, we hope you don't find one.
Okay, another comment, can I get a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 2024-10? All in favor? Carried. All right, 9.3, policy FIN 0224, asset retirement obligation, ARO. Is that you or is that Donna?
Little both.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to have this policy in order to satisfy our auditors. And just to kind of say how we do things when it comes to AROs. So as you know, AROs is something new as of last year. So this policy just basically says how we will go about identifying them, measuring them, recording them, amortizing them, how often we will do reviews, which clearly Thorsby cannot afford $17,000 a year. So I spoke with the auditors and I said, what do you think is okay? I said, every 3 to 5. He's like, Sure, so we put in here 5, and then, and he was good with that, because nothing really changes unless we have something big, and if we did have something big, we'd have to.
When you're talking auditor, you're talking about the government's auditor?
No, our
auditor. Oh,
because they have to follow these rules,
I see.
right? Like the AROs it's a
Okay.
standard now that we have to follow, so.
Yep. Of course.
Is it like a moving forward thing or a going back in history thing?
No, this is from now, because last year we established our AROs, right? Like, based on and so this is in line with the standard, right? So how we measure and all that stuff. So we didn't have to have this policy. This policy is basically going forward. This is how we're gonna do it. Because we didn't amortize last year.
Under the guidelines, 1A1 makes me wish that we don't have 1A1, so that's something just gets left forgotten.
The town says including but not limited to landfills. This is just out of the policy.
I realize, but
Yeah.
it's just like explicitly, there is over by the transfer station that can of worms that I'd rather not open, so I don't know. Are we actually gonna open that can of worms?
I don't even know about that. I don't know what the can of worms is.
And that's where the Leduc County, like, the waste transfer site is, outside town?
Oh,
That's on a little chunk of land that's immediately adjoining a chunk of land that we actually own? Because it used to be our landfill.
Oh,
Way back.
and now it's the county's landfill.
No, that we apparently gave the county the chunk that their transfer station's on, and still own the other part of this little pie of land apparently.
Huh?
So I've been told. I'm fairly confident on it.
I'm not disputing it, I guess it's just a little more investigation we gotta do. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
even
was
know.
like a bajillion years ago, and everyone just has chose to forget it.
How many
Well,
acres?
why did you bring it up now? We can't.
Because they said they were gonna identify it.
How many acres?
I don't know, it's just a
Where-
weird little pie.
Where is this? Like,
There's, at the corner, like at the bend there, there's that waste transfer station.
yeah,
And just immediately to the south, there's like a weird pie of just poplar and stuff.
Yeah, it's
right,
very nice.
okay, I know what you're talking
That
about.
weird little pie of overgrowth.
Yeah.
Underneath that overgrowth, it might not be all dirt.
Hang on.
Might not be all there.
Good,
Sorry,
so if I had
I
extra,
never got any confirmation on whether that's our land or not.
we're gonna have to find out.
I don't know where it
I've
is,
been
so.
told that it is for sure our land.
All right,
I've
we'll
never
go
seen.
into-
like,
Where is it?
Land titles or anything, but like,
We'll check.
He's talking by the auction area, right?
Sometimes
granted, we owned the
remember-
whole parcel and subdivided it off for the county to do the transfer station and still had this little weird chunk of it apparently, as far as I've been informed.
I won't ask why we did that, but why?
It was way back when they decided to do the transfer station. We didn't want to do the dump, they wanted a transfer station, we said, hey, this is perfect. And they don't want us to do the transfer station anyway.
Okay.
No, I know.
Pie right here.
So we subdivided,
saying
we
ours?
got any privilege.
Do we own our
subdivision.
Yeah, I think that we used to, I think once upon a time they
Oh,
did,
okay.
but like this is like going way back when apparently.
Okay, we'll check with land title.
We
We'll
don't
figure it out.
have to, we can review this.
Yeah, we can review.
We can bring this back to you in January, because as long as it's past when the auditors.
I'm just saying, like the very first thing in here is that we're going to
Yeah.
have to go to a way to identify that. So,
It's trees.
it is trees, so I agree, it is trees.
Interesting.
Okay, well, we'll investigate and we'll bring this back with.
Yeah, like I'm hoping that it somehow is in someone else's name, that would be just swell, but.
We will investigate it, I appreciate that, not really, but I appreciate.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like I don't wanna like put it in that,
No.
the
Yeah,
first thing we're gonna identify is something I'd rather just ignore.
So you want a motion to, directing you to investigate that and?
Research the policy a little further based on council discussion.
Yeah, and I hope I'm wrong, I've never seen documentation,
I
I've
really
been
do hope
informed,
you're wrong.
like I've been told.
Okay. Somebody wanna make that motion? John, okay, all in favor? Okey-dokey.
All right, well, that would be, okay.
Figure that one out.
Okay, another mystery.
All right, I guess we're right into 11.1, variance report for November.
Okay. So after 11 months, we're at 100% ranking, 101 actually. And 79% of expenses that there's. And then there's still one more student and a bunch of debenture payments that are coming out in December, so. But basically, we're sitting at almost $500,000 gain right now. But as I said, there's a lot of stuff going out the door here.
Yeah,
And there was a lot last week too,
yes.
so. December is good. I mean, we're good. I'm not saying we're not good. We're good, but.
So when do we, the lending, we don't do that until
Oh, January, we'll do
January?
the borrowing bylaw, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions for Cindy on the variance report? No, motion to accept the variance report for November for information?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Carried. All righty, we don't have anybody here today. You don't count, Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
You don't count, Andrew.
Oh, you were hiding right behind Jesse here, I couldn't see you.
The only thing we have to do, your worship, is, the letter in question. I've made all the changes, and if council would like to just take a quick look in the correspondence section, if you're fine with it, one letter can be signed tonight. And then I will scan it to the mayor to be sent to,
Okay, you want me to hand these out to everybody? Okay.
yeah.
So so we're going for the spring thaw for the water fill station?
We'll know more tomorrow when we go see them. Going tomorrow, we'll be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Had a little chat with them. They sent me the branding today, looks good. Mock up of the branding. So.
Yeah, it's just that if you can't, well, we'll see if they have any other ideas tomorrow, but if they don't, it doesn't make sense to put it in if it's gonna all settle down. How much you gonna use it in winter time anyhow? The only guys, there's a few farmers, but they would like it. Order to adjourn? Nothing else? Okay, well, back to order 8:40, adjourn at 8:41.
There you go.
I'll make a motion of that.
You don't have to motion.
You don't have to motion to adjourn.
Yeah. We're really getting
No,
streamlined here, I think.
And motion to adjourn if you want, but if you're just on the agenda and everything's done, you're going to adjourn, you didn't need a motion.
We haven't adjourned, he just adjourned it now.
So,
It's like a weird.
No, a lot of.
Christmas around your house.